Throughout my time on Elite Anarchy, I have been involved in many bases, all of which I have had a hand in constructing. Many of these bases unfortunately met their demise, and one simply died with the passage of time. From the ruins of my first ever project, to the Fort of Mariana, we will be taking a look at the most iconic bases of my time on the server, remaining today as footprints of my past. I hope you enjoy this different type of video. I haven't visited these places in a while, so there is no telling what we may find. Let's do this. Here we are, traveling towards our first destination. Please allow me to tell you a little bit of backstory before we arrive. After I first joined Elite Anarchy, I was introduced to an individual called the Socia, who kindly geared me up and invited me to join his clan called Saki. I agreed and we set off to an area near spawn where we established the castle of Saki, and well, let's just say things didn't end too well for us. But that can be a separate video on its own. We eventually parted our ways as the Sosa eventually grew away from Elite Anarchy and I went off to accomplish other feats. But that is where I will leave the story for today. We must be getting close now, and I think this is the place. Yeah. Here are the ruins of what would have been the castle of Saki, the site of many trials and tribulations. This place would have been a grand, majestic castle if it hadn't been griefed. Within the stone brick walls would have been a vast labyrinth of tunnels and rooms filled to the brim with treasures, but it just wasn't meant to be. Here is a photo of the castle prior to the grief. If this build seems familiar to you, it is because this is not my original design. I copied it from a tutorial posted by Blue Nerd, which is what initially sparked my interest for building large structures on the server. As I'm looking around, I noticed quite a few chests at the bottom of the structure that I couldn't recall being there previously, so let's go down there and check it out. There's a sign. That's new. Let's take a look in these chests. These kits are not mine, so it seems that players have stumbled upon these ruins themselves. So hey, Monarchist and Code Cheese, if you see this, shoutouts to you, but as I'm looking through the rest of these chests, there seems to be no more that we missed, so let's go on to my second ever base on Elite Anarchy. This base, unlike the previous one, was made independently solely for myself. However, the initial structure itself was short-lived, but the base lived on. I will explain when we get there. Alright, this should be the place. Let's put together a portal and see what is on the other side. Oh wow, my old dupe stash is still here. That's not something I expected to find. Anyways, let's press forward and... Yep, there it is. My old forest tower. What is left of it at least. After my time in Saki, I came to this forest looking for an isolationist way of life, and this was where I found it. I lived as a nomad for a month before eventually moving to the end, which we will get to once we are done here. After this base was griefed by an unknown individual, I continued to live here in the underground bunker that somehow remained untouched. Not much of my original stuff is here though. I moved the majority of it to Zelda's stronghold during its construction. This is basically all this forest base had to offer, so let's head on to my old end base, but for that, I need to make my way to an end portal. Alright, here goes nothing. Welcome to the end. I sure have missed this place. Alright, which way are we heading? This way. Coordinates are on for this one. Though it was short-lived, Zelda's stronghold was my first major build on Elite Anarchy, taking me over a month of on and off construction. The idea was originally conjured from boredom while sitting in class, which eventually led to the original blueprints being made. It still stands as my all-time favorite build, although Mariana Fort may eventually take the cake. Well anyways, here it is. Zelda's stronghold. looking as nuked as ever. It's truly a shame that this base had to go out so soon, but it was on my call, so I must deal with that. This place, when it was in its prime, always reminded me of a utopian space society, though that wasn't my original intention with the place. I eventually ran with the idea, adding a redstone elevator and even an overworld landscape. I sure do miss this place. Over here was where the Zelda Tree of Honor once stood, but now, the area is unrecognizable. Explore, Giraffe, and Black Sheep really did a number on this place. But anyways, let us move on to possibly my greatest and current build, Mariana Fort. Now, if you haven't checked out my Mariana Fort montage video, I would highly recommend it. It goes over the whole construction process, compiling 2 months into 8 minutes. Mariana Fort was a project taken on by my friend Not Fruity and I. The original plan was to undertake this project by myself, but having Fruity around really helped me push this thing to the end. Well, here it is, Mariana Fort. The islands around the fort itself were not a necessary addition, but one that made all the difference. It truly made the base 10 times better. Within the walls lies a jungle occupying what was originally all water. Not Fruity and I had spent many hours draining this area in preparation for this build, and I'd say our hard work paid off. We have small little additions such as a marsh area, spikes, and rocks that all add something special to this base. At the heart of the forest, as you should have noticed, is a castle that we use to store all of our useful belongings, such as kits and stuff like that. The interior is unfinished, which is why I am only showing you the main floor. However, as you make your way through the jungle and to this big tree, you would find a secret tunnel that will take you down to the disc. The disc is basically an empty chamber lined with black concrete that gives the illusion that you are standing in the middle of space on a floating platform. Here is the disc. Possibly my favorite part of this build. This is pretty much where we store everything else we have that doesn't belong up in the castle. This main fort is only the beginning of what I hope will grow into one of the largest mega bases on Elite Anarchy. But you will have to stay tuned to see that happen. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, join the gang by hitting subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next one.